Thank you all for coming. We're going to invite Chaplain Haley to start off our presentation today with a prayer, then we'll follow by the Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain.
Before we pray, shout out, it's right to honor these guys who go above and beyond, who are earning these awards today, but I also want to give an attaboy to all the rank and file for your work day in, day out, handling all these calls, many of them boring, not challenging, and you do so with professionalism and compassion. So my hat's off to you. Let us pray. God, we thank you for these people who do your work, taking care of others, helping people when they're in trouble, rescuing them as needed. Watch over them and care for them, their families, and all who wait. We pray. Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's with great pride and excitement that I welcome you all to the inaugural Des Plaines Fire Department Recognition and Award Ceremony. Thank you all for being here. This afternoon marks a special moment in the history of our department as we gather for the first time to formally recognize the incredible efforts, dedication, and heroism of the men and women who serve this community. I'd like to begin by extending a heartfelt thank you to our distinguished guests. We have elected officials, city staff, retirees, and most importantly, the families of our firefighters and paramedics. Your support is invaluable to us, and we are so grateful to have you here to share in this celebration. To our firefighters' families, thank you for the love and support that sustain our personnel through the demands of this noble profession. This ceremony is more than just an event. It's a tribute to the sacrifices and the extraordinary work our fire department personnel perform every day. Whether responding to a fire or medical emergency or engaging in community outreach to teach fire safety, these individuals embody the very essence of public service. Each one of you serves with honor, courage, and selflessness, and tonight we celebrate that. We will be presenting awards to acknowledge acts of bravery, dedication to duty, years of service, and outstanding teamwork. But beyond these individual accolades, I want to emphasize that we are a team. Every achievement here is a reflection of our collective commitment to protect and serve the community. I'm proud to be your fire chief, and tonight we honor not just individual accomplishments, but the spirit of unity and service that defines this department. Before we proceed with the awards, it's my distinct honor to introduce someone who has been a steadfast supporter of our department and public safety efforts. Our city manager, Dorothy Wisniewski. The city manager's leadership and dedication to making our community safer have been instrumental in ensuring that we all have the resources, training, and support needed to fulfill our mission. So please join me in welcoming the city manager to stage.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as we gather to recognize the exceptional bravery, dedication, and service of the men and women of our fire department. During my 17 years with the city, I have had the pleasure of getting to know many of our over 300 employees, and I am pleased to say that we have an exceptional team. Everyone on our Des Plaines team works very hard, but no one employed by our city works harder than our first responders, our firefighters, paramedics, and police officers in the Des Plaines are selfless heroes, and we are deeply grateful for their service. It takes a particular type of individual to be a firefighter or a paramedic. Those who work in this department are wired in a unique fashion. They possess incredible courage and selflessness. While most of us see danger and instinctively want to run, the men and women who call the fire department their home run toward danger, no matter what it might be. We are incredibly grateful to each of you in this room today. Your selfless dedication to public service is a true reflection of your character, and it is a significant factor in making Des Plaines an exceptional place for our residents to live and our businesses to operate. Your service is not just a job. It is a vital part of our community's safety and well-being, and we are all proud of the impact you have on our community. So for each of you receiving an award today, I want you to know that our entire team deeply appreciates your service to Des Plaines. I thank Chief Matzel for his generous invitation to join you today. I sincerely appreciate your leadership, Chief. Thank you to each and every one of you for your dedication and hard work, and congratulations to all of our award recipients.
Thank you, Dorothy. Next, I'm going to step aside and welcome Deputy Chief Joe Serralo, as he'll serve as the host of the ceremony. Deputy Chief Serralo has organized the event with the assistance of the Awards and Recognition Committee. Thank you all who had a hand in today's event, and we do appreciate that. All right, welcome Deputy Chief Serralo.
Welcome. Before I start, I want to thank the awards committee, each and every member that helped put this together. This has been a long time coming. Believe it or not, this has been 5 years in the making. We had a global pandemic that kind of stopped our progression for a little while, and numerous other obstacles throughout the last couple of years. So Lieutenant Moon had a great hand in putting this all together. Lieutenant Gov, Lieutenant Garhan, Division Chief Rogers, and Inspector Brooks. Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause? We're going to be presenting awards to numerous people today. Although everybody in our department is not receiving an award, this does need to be said. Every day our membership performs extraordinary acts. They respond to countless emergencies and make a difference in the lives of every individual they encounter. If you were to praise them for their work, they would simply say, "I'm just doing my job." I think everyone in this room can agree that it's much more than that. Let's take a moment and have each and every member of our department stand up, and let's give them a round of applause for what they do every day. Before we start handing out awards, I'm going to give you kind of a description of what each award is, the definition that we have in our policy. You're going to see one individual come up for a life-saving award. This is an award that doesn't go to our members, it goes to a civilian. An award that is conferred to a member of the general public whose actions resulted in a life saved. There's going to be a lot of company citations. This is an award that is conferred to a company for outstanding performance on the scene of an incident. We're going to have one individual come up for a meritorious award. This is an award that is conferred to a member for outstanding performance on the scene of an incident. And we're going to have two individuals come up for the Medal of Bravery, an award that is conferred to a member for an act which exhibited significant personal risk in an effort to save the life of another. We're going to ask a couple of members to come up here. Lieutenant Klickus. Firefighter paramedic Alex Dema. Let's get them front and center. Yep, right here. I'm assuming we do not have retired engineer Billy Schmergalski in the crowd, do we? No, okay. He was also on this call. On September 6th, 2019, Station 62 had a walk-in patient. This is no ordinary walk-in patient. The parents of an unresponsive 3-week-old were holding their unresponsive baby. The baby was blue and not breathing. Ambulance 62, which is housed in Station 62, was out on another incident. Without hesitation, they began treating the baby. Lieutenant Klickus performed chest compressions, back slaps, and mouth-to-mouth. While he was performing the mouth-to-mouth, he suctioned out solid chunks of mucus, which essentially cleared the airway of this 3-week-old baby. The patient's airway was clear, and she began to breathe on her own. Within a few minutes, she regained color and was crying and doing everything that these paramedics want to see. This was all done prior to an ambulance even arriving. The immediate actions that were taken on this incident saved this 3-week-old baby's life. It's not every day that we respond to an incident like this, but we do train for incidents like this, for that situation. These guys were prepared and saved that child's life that day. Let's give them a round of applause. Lieutenant Klickus will be receiving the Meritorious Service Award. Alex Dema and Billy Schmergalski will be receiving a company citation. Have Deputy Chief Foster present a few awards.
Good afternoon. Please, I'm not sick, I swear. I'm not. I keep telling that to everybody, but first off, thanks for everybody for being here. So it's great to see retired members and members that have been here for, that I've worked with for 20-some years. It's a beautiful thing. Retired chiefs, aldermen, everyone, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. So, if I could get firefighter paramedic Arturo Mora, firefighter paramedic Craig Reinert, firefighter paramedic Benny Baltazar, and firefighter paramedic Darren Borg. So on March 28th, 2023, Ambulance and Rescue 63 were dispatched to an animal bite victim in a residential neighborhood. When these individuals arrived on location, Rescue and Ambulance 63 found a female patient on the ground after being mauled by a dog. I'm not going to go into the details on this incident, but it was pretty severe. The patient had suffered multiple severe injuries to both arms and was bleeding profusely. Both companies, these men you have before you, along with PD support, jumped into action and assessed and started providing life-saving measures to this poor-stricken patient on the ground. The patient was stabilized on the scene and was quickly transported to Lutheran General Hospital. The quick and decisive actions of the crews before you resulted in saving the life of that patient. On behalf of the Des Plaines Fire Department, I would like to present Arturo Mora, Craig Reinert, Benny Baltazar, and Derek Bork with a company citation. Nice job, fellas. Now, if I could get firefighter paramedic George Trickolas. Here, there he is. Firefighter paramedic Nicholas Altman. Firefighter paramedic Chris Dammers. Firefighter paramedic engineer Dan Ayala is here. All right, it's just on you guys. All right. So on December 7th, 2023, Ambulance and Rescue 63 responded to a patient having difficulty breathing. On location, Ambulance 63 found a male patient on the ground in cardiac arrest with the family actively performing CPR. Fire department members immediately, these guys in front of you, immediately started providing advanced life support efforts resulting in the patient's blood pressure and creating a viable pulse and heart rhythm on the scene. Additionally, after reading through this report, which is very impressive, the patient was stabilized and prepped for transport in less than 13 minutes from inside of a big box store. I believe it was Sam's Club, correct? The quick and decisive actions of the crews before you resulted in saving a life of the patient I just described. On behalf of the Des Plaines Fire Department, I would like to present the company citation, and you'll have to give the other two when we get back. Company citation. If I could please get Lieutenant Mike DeLuca. Firefighter paramedic Nicholas Altman up here again. And for the second time, firefighter paramedic Benny Baltazar. And firefighter paramedic Matt Glenn, if he's in the house. All right. You ready? All right. On January 14th, 2022, Ambulance 64, Engine 62, and Battalion 61 responded for a patient in cardiac arrest. On location, Ambulance 64 found a male patient on the ground in full cardiac arrest, no breathing, no respirations. The fire department members immediately started providing advanced life support care, resulting in the patient regaining a blood pressure and a viable heart rhythm on the scene. This patient was stabilized on the scene and prepped for transport in very short order, according to the report. The patient was transported to Lutheran General Hospital in stable condition with the quick and decisive actions of the crew standing before you. Again, resulted in another life saved, as I just described. On behalf of the Des Plaines Fire Department, I would like to present Mike DeLuca, Nicholas Altman, Benny Baltazar, and Matt Glenn, along with Billy Smirgalski, who's not here, correct? With a company citation. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, with that, so you don't have to listen to my raspy voice any longer, I'll give it back to Deputy Chief Serrano. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief Foster. I swear I didn't make him come up here and do that. I told him he didn't have to come up here like that, but he insisted. Our next awards are going to be presented by Lieutenant Colin Moon. Lieutenant Moon nominated these, he's going to hand out 2 separate incident awards. He nominated each of these individuals for these awards. He also had a heavy hand in putting this whole ceremony together. Let's give Lieutenant Moon a hand as he comes up.
If I could get firefighter paramedic Colin Leahy. Firefighter paramedic Mark Pollock. Firefighter paramedic Brent Hoffman. And engineer Kevin Jones. So, in order for us to do our job, there has to be a system in place. A lot of us know it as 911. And 911 includes several things, and one of those things are well-trained and experienced call takers. I want to take a moment to recognize the dispatchers and call takers who allow us to do our job and send us to the right spot with the right information. Without them, we couldn't do what we're here to do, okay? We also rely heavily on our police officers. I'd like to thank them for their well-trained and rapid responses. Thank you, Chief. And also, we can't overlook the importance of strategically located fire stations, staffed with trained personnel and quality equipment. And when you put all 3 of those together, you get an incident like what I'm about to describe. Paramedics were dispatched on August 11th of 2022, Station 62 crew, which includes Engine 62, Ambulance 62, to the Longhorn Steakhouse for the choking victim. I'm going to read to you from my letter to the chiefs real quick. Good evening, chiefs. I'm writing this to let you know of a save the 62s had today. Crews were dispatched shortly after 1300 hours for the choking patient at Longhorn Steakhouse. Upon arrival, they found Des Plaines police performing the Heimlich maneuver on a cyanotic and apneic patient. Upon fire department arrival, crews continued the Heimlich maneuver and ultimately removed a large piece of steak from the victim's airway, utilizing suction and McGill forceps. After further ventilating the patient, she regained mental status and was talking at the hospital. It is my opinion that the engine and Ambulance 62 are directly responsible for saving this woman's life and would like to recommend they receive recognition. I would also like to commend the police department for their quick response and appropriate handling of the critical patient. And with that, I'd like to recognize a company citation to these 4 individuals. For our next award, I'd like to present to you Mr. Eric Carlin. And I'd like to also bring up firefighter paramedic Nick Altman. Firefighter paramedic David Lino. And once again, firefighter paramedic Colin Leahy. When a major traffic accident occurs, the 911 system is set into motion. A person calls, an alarm operator handles that call, and first responders are dispatched, who ultimately come and mitigate the situation. But that system takes time. And in that time is when citizens who witnessed the event are left with a short window of time with which to decide how to react. Many choose to ignore it, simply driving by and going on with their day. Some decide to stop and watch, often filming the event. But a few act. Those few are the people that make a difference. Those few decide to take risks in order to help a stranger. I am proud today to stand up here and recognize one of those few. I will now read from the award nomination correspondence. I am writing to recommend a civilian life-saving award for an incident that took place on I-294 southbound on July 22, 2023. Upon arrival, I found a fully engulfed automobile in the left lane with 2 victims lying up against the Jersey barrier. I found one bystander holding C-spine on one of the patients and asked him to remain in that position pending the arrival of the ambulance. Later at the hospital, I heard one of the medics reporting that the patient was removed from the vehicle by bystanders. Illinois State Police had the name of the possible individual involved removing the victim from this vehicle. I reached out to the individual to obtain more information on his observations and actions, he reported the following. Mr. Eric Carlin was traveling southbound on I-294 when he saw people frantically waving and requesting help. He exited his vehicle and found one occupant trapped in the driver's seat of an SUV. Along with another unidentified bystander, they attempted to remove the occupant from his seat through the passenger side. They found his legs trapped under the dash and were unable to remove him. The occupant had altered mental status and was suffering from obvious injuries. Normally, an incident like this would require specialized equipment and tools from the fire department. However, in this case, that time was not available. At around this point, the engine compartment was on fire, and they decided they had to try again and remove the occupant out of the passenger side. With great effort, they were able to free the occupant's legs and remove him from the rapidly burning vehicle. They then moved the patient away from the vehicle into a place of safety next to the Jersey barrier, shielded by another Good Samaritan's car. Mr. Carlin then assessed and remained with the victim until passing them off to the Ambulance 61 crew. Mr. Carlin is a nurse and former paramedic who works at Lutheran General Hospital. The other reported Good Samaritan remains unidentified, and after several attempts to find him. It is my sincere belief that without the actions of these 2 individuals, the occupant of the vehicle would not have survived the car fire. Instead, their heroic actions provided the occupant the best possible chance for survival. In doing so, they allowed for rapid treatment and transportation by the Des Plaines Fire Department to the closest Level 1 trauma center. I would like to recommend the appropriate recognition for this selfless act. And with that, I'd like to present to Mr. Carlin the Civilian Life Saving Award from the Des Plaines Fire Department. In a continuation of that incident, and again, highlighting the system of the actions of people before we arrive and the actions of the fire department. Is that yours? Oh, great. What's up? Stay here. The individual in question, the victim of this incident, ultimately walked out of the hospital. One of the major contributing factors clearly was the actions of this gentleman here, and then also the subsequent actions of the paramedics on that scene. We were faced with a rapidly declining patient who was succumbing from major injuries. The paramedics that you see here administered life-saving treatment, including the use of seldom given drugs and rapid transportation to prevent the impending arrest of this individual. Again, he ultimately was released from the hospital under his own power, and if it wasn't for the combination of the citizens and the fire department, that person would not be with us today. So I'd like to recognize these 3 with a unit or company citation.
No, you're not going anywhere. You'll see. All right, let's get a round of applause for Lieutenant Moon. Lieutenant Moon is also a recipient of an award, so he's going to remain up here. We're going to ask for Engineer Mike Donovan, Engineer Bob Chapman, Firefighter Paramedic Rob Vaccarello, and Firefighter Paramedic Mike Rossi, who's not in attendance tonight. On January 12th, 2024, this crew is called for the pregnancy. The responding crew treated and transported the patient with no incident. So they thought. The baby was not an imminent delivery at the time that they arrived or the time they transported. But when they arrived at the hospital, delivery was imminent. They were on their way to the OB floor when the delivery couldn't wait. These gentlemen up here today delivered the baby right there in the elevator. Lieutenant Moon received the child and carried the child to the OB floor. As you can imagine, this was probably chaotic, hectic, and the last thing they wanted to do was deliver that baby in that elevator. But they did it, and they did it successfully. They remained calm and professional and did what they were trained to do. The situation wasn't ideal, but they rose to the occasion and did what we do every day, and is answer the call. We're going to give these guys the company citation. I'd like to call Lieutenant Klickus, Engineer Ryan Petty, Firefighter Paramedic Mike Cangelosi, Firefighter Paramedic Patrick Tennant, Engineer Max Verlinsky, and Firefighter Paramedic Mike Kirchhoff. I don't think he's here. On June 6th, 2023, we responded to an accident with extrication. I was in the battalion that day. I remember looking down at the notes when we went en route and thought to myself, this is going to be a difficult one. The notes read, silver sedan under a box truck on 294. While en route, dispatch reported that someone on scene stated that the patient in the sedan was trapped and unresponsive. We arrived on the scene within 5 minutes of going en route. Tower 61 and Engine 61 arrived on scene and went to work immediately. I remember the lieutenant on scene relaying to me that the individual was still alive inside the car. To put this kind of into perspective, this small white sedan was under this box truck, was between the frame rails, and the frame rail was resting on his left shoulder. The car was completely submerged under the box truck. It didn't give us much room to work. I remember thinking again, we're probably going to be here for a while, but I underestimated our crews and their abilities, and I was shocked. Within 7 minutes, Both doors on the driver's side were removed, and the box truck was lifted enough so that we can successfully remove the patient. The patient was alert and talking to our paramedics as we extricated him from the vehicle. It's an incredible feat to think that in 7 minutes of arrival, 2 doors are removed, a box truck is lifted, and this individual is pulled free. I remember thinking afterwards, no matter what we face, we're going to be able to do it. It was truly incredible. I remember coming back and just being in awe of the fact that they did this. As a battalion chief or an incident commander, there's times where you have to intervene and there's times when you don't, and you just let your crews go. I knew that moving forward, I was never going to have to intervene with these guys because they were going to do what they needed to do because they were trained and prepared to do whatever the scene dictated. We're going to present these individuals with the company citation. This is going to be our last incident that we're going to present awards for this evening, but it certainly isn't the least. Can I have firefighter paramedic Nate Olslager and Lieutenant Dan Garhan? I think Lieutenant Dan Garhan is literally pulling into the parking lot right now. In addition to them, let's get Lieutenant Joe Mordell, retired Lieutenant Terry Dillon, firefighter paramedic Will Leonard, and firefighter paramedic Mike Genova. Just in time. Let's have Lieutenant Garhan and firefighter paramedic Nate stand over here first. As firefighters, we all train for that incident that we're going to run into that burning building and rescue someone. It's not every day that that occurs. In some cases, some firefighters may never get that opportunity. An even more rare occasion is when they perform what's called a vent enter isolate search. This occurs when you know you have someone trapped on an upper level and pulling a hose line and going to the front door isn't going to be fast enough. Well, on December 22nd, 2021, Ambulance 61 and North Main Engine 1 were dispatched for trouble breathing. They were surprised to find when they arrived that they had a structure fire. This individual was having trouble breathing because the house was on fire. They quickly identified that the individual who called 911 was trapped inside her bedroom. Engine 1 went and pulled their hose line to attack the fire. Ambulance 61, who thought they were coming for an EMS patient, quickly put on their gear, grabbed the ladder, and threw it to the bedroom. They removed the window, climbed in through the window, found the patient, and removed her from danger. As they were removing the patient, Tower 61 arrived on scene to assist. Without the tower's help, that feat of carrying down someone down a ladder can be pretty difficult. They helped remove the patient and treated the patient until the ambulance took over. Lieutenant Dan Garhan and firefighter paramedic Nate Olslager displayed great courage and bravery that day. They put themselves at risk to save the life of another. And in doing so, they're going to receive the Medal of Bravery. Lieutenant Terry Dillon, retired Lieutenant Terry Dillon, Lieutenant Joe Mordell, firefighter paramedic Will Leonard, and firefighter paramedic Mike Genova will receive the company citation. That concludes our award portion of this ceremony. So let's give all our recipients and all members of this fire department a round of applause.